Good evening, good evening. Pastor Lacey here. I know it's been a while, but I'm glad we are back. Um, what I tell everyone is that I do what God tells me to do. I'm not the smartest one. I did not know that today would be the State of the Union address. However, I do know I want to talk about the state of our union. So I encourage you to be able to tell your friends, to tell your neighbors, to tell your exes and your nexus. Tune in and participate in this discussion because right now class is in session. Hey, family, I'm delighted that you are here, and I'm glad that you thought it not robbery for you to just to pause in the midst of your time for us to engage in this discussion. I'm going to ask our executive pastor, the Reverend E. Tyrone Pittman, Pastor E. Tyrone Pittman, if he will lead us even in prayer to sanctify this moment.
Thank you, Pastor. Dear God, our Father and our mothers, once more and again that we bow in your presence, thanking you for the blessings of this day. Even now, oh God, while we have other options and either other platforms to be on, our preference, our desires is to be on this platform. It is intentional that we have directed our hearts, minds, yea, even our spirits to this place, to this platform for this hour. We ask, oh God, that you might continue to use us individually and collectively to have a robust conversation. Those of us that have come because we have something to say, give us the bravado, the sense of urgency that we need to say it and to be done with it. We thank you for our senior pastor, one Adolphus C. Lacey, as he leads us in this moment. Hasten the arrival of our brothers and sisters yet to come. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir. Thank you, even indeed, for this moment. I'm now doing my little tag and share. I didn't get classes in session, but we ain't got to be long. But we got to catch up because we haven't done it for a while. And so for today, what I wanted to do, I don't have notes for to share with you, but I did have a script for me as we begin to look at the aspect of today is the State of the Union address. And I mean, honestly, I did not know that when I agreed to say, let's do the first of the month, that this was the State of the Union address. And and what happens is that the State of the Union address is a moment of reflection. It's a moment to try to say, like where we're going, what is needed to call for energy. And and I mean, people can begin to be successful based upon that moment. And as a pastor, and even as we just finished our annual church conference, the State of the Union should also be a moment of truth telling. And oftentimes we don't want to be engaged in truth telling. And I love to think about that in terms of like a hush harbor. A hush harbor is a safe space that I can be real and say, well, Pastor, I disagree with this, or Pastor, we need to do this, Mr. President, we need, as opposed to somebody being able to dictate. And we are now in a season where we are afraid truth telling is being canceled out. That's where we are. And you and I, well, not everybody on the call, but the majority of people that certainly that are pastor, our existence exists because we were in the hush harbors. Wow. Why the hush harbors? Why would they give the name the hush harbors? Anybody? Let's talk before because I'm gonna drop something on y'all. Why would they give this name the hush harbor? Minister Young, you ready? I hear you.
I mean, I would suppose because we are entering into a time of widespread silencing and also secrecy.
We're entering, but I'm saying, but why did it exist in the first place?
Because that's always been the culture. And maybe we're not entering, we're just it's becoming apparent to everyone. It's being revealed that that is the culture, secrecy and a culture of silencing, systematic silencing.
But what people needed secrecy to be able to do that? I'm going somewhere.
Those in power.
No, no, power doesn't need secrecy.
Hmm.
Those that are
I'm sure there's a history lesson in here somewhere. And I'm thinking, what about those who are being smuggled or I'm thinking really about those who are running away. And
those who are revolting need secrecy. Those who are uprising need secrecy and cover.
absolutely, absolutely. That's what the hush harbor was. You again, for those who don't understand what the hush harbor language means, it was when and we sing the song, still away to Jesus, is that you moved where master couldn't hear you planning. And you went into the privacy to a space that you can trust. And here we are. And again, Kendrick killed it. I love Kendrick. Um, but as he used Gil Scott Herring, the revolution will not be televised, and he said it will be televised. No, the revolution cannot be televised. There are some things that we have to do by ourselves, and you have to hide. Because if I know you coming for me, I'm going to prepare for you. 100. So if I can do this, you mean to tell me nobody else can do this? I asked Chat, what's they called? GPT, Chat GPT to do something. And do you know what? It said no because I was going against its forms. Did you hear what I just said? I forgot what I asked, but I asked for like a political critique of Donald Trump to be able to share. And it says, well, we don't want to do that. We want to have all sides and stuff. And I smile. And because I did it as a test. That now our technology is trying to determine our appetite, to determine what we want. And we have to ultimately decide what do we want? And if we want it, what are we willing to sacrifice to be able to get it? But yet we're using their tools to be able to get together. And and wow, that's a big conspiracy because otherwise, if it wasn't for COVID, we would be in Bible study right now. COVID pulled us out, not Pastor Lacey, not a conspiracy, but it's the conspiracy behind COVID. And so, what I believe, what I want to do as we reset is for us to understand the value of truth telling. And that's really what the hush harbor was for people, our ancestors that were enslaved, and they would steal a way to go and tell a story to say blank, blank, blank. to be able to inform the others that this is what's going to happen or this is what's going on. And I believe we are in a hush harbor moment as we begin to see this toddler in the office just, I mean, for us to do history, he goes back to Andrew Jackson's. To me, that's the most racist president we ever had, was Andrew Jackson. And now I believe that that is his activity in here. And when you are attacking federal workers, that's because actually the federal government, for us to know, and I want you to know, the federal government, for its access and what it sought to do under different leaderships, but first starting with Truman as he integrated the military, is that it is the most diverse workforce in the world. Period. Federal government is. Not the state. I ain't talking about your state. I ain't talking about your city. I'm talking about the federal government. And it is located in what we call the DMV, in the District of Columbia, Maryland, and Virginia. And that's where you have the highest concentration of Black wealth. And this man is taking all of their jobs. It was it is what they thought. This was planned. And sadly, and some of those people that are losing their jobs voted for this man. And that's the problem that we didn't see. This guy has not shown himself to be different than what we have known the first time we saw him. And now today he will give a State of the Union and to be able to rant and rage. And again, I did not plan this, but I said our State of our Union is for us to not give up, for us to educate, for us to be very, very clear on the steps that are going, and even understanding the warning of what Gil Scott Herring told us, is that the revolution will not be televised. That means it might cause us a sacrifice instead of the convenience for us organizing, using Master's thing and thinking Master does not know. To plan a revolution, it don't happen. And let me help somebody, and then I'm gonna get some comments. Are you aware when you use Facebook or when you use Instagram and you like something, and if you stay on it for a long time, it creates an algorithm and it gives you more of that, right? For mine, it's it can be steaks or smash cheeseburgers, or then it can be worship. Like how does this thing know that you're Black, that you know Black worship service, that you like this stuff? But yet we want to, if we think we're smart enough that we can get on here and then say, this is what we need to do to change the system. I mean, who's the idiot? Come on, talk back. Because at the end, I think I am going to suggest that we meet in person. That's the deal. Or on our website. But you can't participate. We can't do what you're doing right now. Or I'll talk to my staff to see what else we can begin to do. Go ahead on, Deacon Beckwith.
Well, here's the thing with that algorithm. They do give you that option. Sometimes it's like, do you want to see more of this or less of this? When they were like, and you can always choose, like, Yeah, I do want to see less of it sometimes because it's like, okay, I'm not necessarily that interested. So just see less of it, and then eventually I do see less of it. That's the interest. That's one of the quirks of these systems. Is like you have some semblance of control, not a 100% control, but you have some semblance of.
Yeah, but your control is responsive. But yes, that is control. You can say, I don't want to see no more of this. But my whole point is if you're trying to change the system, you can't use Harriet Tubman did not ask the army to help her. That she was subversive. And that's the point. If we understand our but I think, oh, I love it. I love it. And thank you for your acknowledgement, Elizabeth. So why does Harriet Tubman have to be subversive? If it makes sense, why don't she just do it? But why does it have to be behind the scenes? And that's what we have to wrestle with and tell the truth because this is a racist, sexist country, period. And those that have sought to succeed have been subversive to go underneath. They try to go under the radar. And here we are. Wow, got 10,000 likes. Worship service. But people can begin to see. Justin, go ahead.
I will say on the flip side, when it comes to algorithm, the reason they fought so hard for TikTok to be removed is because you can curate a well orchestrated, um, whatever, just a really good algorithm on TikTok where you can only see the news or whatever. You can block people. I love the block feature. I highly recommend it. You will get a lot of ads and things because with AI, it's built in that way. But TikTok was one of the main platforms they wanted to do away with because the truth was being shared. And I love TikTok. And when Project 2025 was being introduced, there was a few creators who created a Black Project 2025, and they've now moved off social media. So they have like their own cohorts where they meet. So it kind of goes a lot with the television. The revolution would not be televised. Is that they're meeting in secret. You have to be a member and all those things. So I think when you use social media right and you use it against them, it's powerful. But I do agree that like your algorithm sometimes is a reflection of things they want you to see with an agenda or things that you just like a lot of.
And that's correct. Thank you, Justin. And I say that from my feed because I have white people in my life. You all know I'm adopted by a white family, so white people are in my feed. And what's interesting is that white people do not post their political views. We do.
That's not necessarily true. I think it depends on the white people in your.
Well, no, it's not necessarily true, but it's generally, and it fills up. And so I hear what you're saying, and I allow you to even push back further. But what I'm saying is that you can search all you want, and you don't see white people not putting things out saying I voted. They ain't doing that. They ain't doing that. They don't have to do that. Now, it is true. Let me be clear. I still see Trump is my president signs in my neighborhood because of where I live. But some of you all might not see it until you leave outside of New York's and I love this. For you all who are in New York City, if you go up a little further to be able to know how conservative this place is. It is true. Liz is up front. You see it often, and again, this is not necessarily a political thing against Trump. It is a basic an ideology of what people think what government is, and now there is we basically have two views of government. Government is good or government is bad. And that's what I'm saying. So what we would say is the left would want more government and the right would say less government. The right would say less government. But in that, the person Doge, Doge, which led by Elon Musk, is getting the most government contracts. It is like, you mean tell me you can't see this? You can't see this? And that's our challenge. And no, they cannot see it. Department of Government Efficiency. Yep. Yep. That dope. I call it doggy. And what we are doing is doggy style. They are terrible and they're destroying us. And we don't want to see, but we gonna find out. That's the deal. Y'all know y'all saw me I do it. I ain't saying the words, but find out. Cause this thing, if getting rid of Medicare. I mean, it's like you're like, so that billionaires can have more money. That is one of the challenges. So when we're looking at this situation, when I said we have the State of the Union, that he's going to be able to give his vision, I would say, and I would want to hear from you. I want to have a conversation for us to be empowered. What is your vision? What could happen? What should happen in terms of as we are experiencing this and what needs to happen if that is the case? Brian.
Good evening, all. Hotep. I'm sure later on, in about an hour and a half, his speech will be televised that he's having tonight, and the whole right wing will have his back. Nothing he can say will be wrong. Everything he says is going to be right on point, and the left will be disagreeing.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That is what is going to happen. And I believe when I'm looking at a civic matter, and that's why I decided to move our discussion to once a month, because he's trying to, or let me give you what, he's terrible, but he ain't an idiot. He knows how to manipulate and begin to move stuff. And that's why he wants to forever forever control the timeline, forever control the timeline. And what we want to do in our aspect is to say, what can we do outside of him? I mean, that's what we got a New York City election. You got global climate change. You got a whole bunch of stuff. We ain't got time to be concerned about all of your other stuff. And that's the piece. Elizabeth, come on. I'm looking for it.
So I'm going back to hearing some echo. I'm going back to my comment. It feels as if the president is coming harder, in a sense, in this regard, he's stripping so much of the government to the point that I feel that it's absolutely at everyone's detriment. And there's a slow awakening for people to realize that he's not on anyone's side. So my concern is that when we talk about, let alone the release of employees, but when you start to strip away Medicaid and Medicare, we're actually placing ourselves in harm's way. So for me, I think a lot of it has to do with, understanding what we can do as a collective. And a lot of that has to go back to education and thinking about how we lobby and also demand and hold our elected officials accountable, because there's so much bowing down, there's so much kissing the ring that, again, people are going to have to absolutely take sides. It feels like I don't think there's any way to stay neutral. There isn't any way that you can say that we want to provide healthcare and not take a stance.
You
You
know,
know, regardless of whether you consider yourself left or right, the point is, you know what it costs to go to the hospital. You know what it costs to go to the emergency room. And what does it feel like when you do not have medication?
excellent, Elizabeth. And the sad part is we see it both ways because that's the way Mayor Adams have placed us in to be able to, they're making you choose sides instead of choose policies. It's sides because the policy, even if I mean, can you imagine people vote? That's what they're doing. They're voting against their interests. There's now been another flood, that flood in Tennessee and in West Virginia, ruby red Tennessee, ruby red West Virginia, and you talking about defunding FEMA. And that's them. But that until they experience that, what we are experiencing, then you will not miss out. And that's the power of what I believe is called an imperial presidency. And so the president is just trying, and he learned. He said he did it before, and now he learned what he needed to do next. And then Project 25 was created. And then as he ran, he denied any affiliation with Project 25. But the moment he becomes president, Project 25 begins to be implemented. That's all I'm saying. I'm like, and I know we have to fight, but sometimes we gotta say, I told you. And that's what we say. Fuck around and find out. That's real. Let me just say that. That's what just happened. And we just found out. We already knew. But some of these other people that are struggling, they're going to find out. Some of these other people that thought, yeah, I didn't like her voice. She was this. You know how many we really tripping off of transgender people? 300,000 transgender people? And now you about to lose your Medicare. Those are the things. And now we have to rally to save. And when we rally to save, we save white folk. So before I get you all to come in, I want to just drop this in this space because I forgot the image. Is that again, Black women have been have saved the Democratic Party and the nation. And there's a wonderful image of them like they chilling. Let this damn thing burn. And that's where we are right now. Because if we don't do it, it's going down. And so what we gonna do? That's where we are. Jackie.
Yeah, I just feel that as we continue to lose all these social support systems that they're continuing to, disable, people are gonna, like you said, they're gonna find out. So when people don't have Medicaid or Medicare, or they can't get emergency funds when they lose a job, all these other support systems that we have going on to help people, especially in poorer neighborhoods, once those start going away, people are going to start to, like you said, they're going to find out. And that's when we're going to need to come together to fight back as much as possible.
So wait, Jackie, how they going to find out? Come on, I need you to say it with me.
They're going to find out because they're not going to have any money. And, it's going to cause a lot more problems too, because as it is, people go to the grocery store, they can't afford eggs. What are you going to do? You're going to take them. You're going to take them off the shelf and walk out the store.
And I love you that said that. And I went to the store the other day and got some stuff. And today tariffs just went in. So
Exactly.
everything is about to go up. But yet people have said that they voted for this person because he could bring down inflation. This was not about inflation. This was about we don't need another Black person in leading us. That's all, let alone a woman. To me.
corporate greed. Because they knew if she got in, they weren't going to be able to do the stuff that they are going to be able to do now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And as you saw, the way the stock market is able to react from those. Minister Young.
Yeah, so on the note of Black women and black men too throwing their hands up saying, we're gonna let this house burn. I've been seeing more and more that there's been a sentiment of divesting from the State of the Union, which I don't think that they're even calling it at the State of the Union this time around, because they're not advocating for a union. But for the State of the Union, there's a call for Black folks to not participate, to not watch, to not attribute to the viewership count for tonight's talk. And granted, Trump's not going to, he can't stay on topic for more than a half a sentence. So he's not really going to be saying anything, but even in his not saying nothing, he says a lot. But I'm curious to know what do you think about that? Do you feel that we should be watching and seeing what he does say, or do you think that we should be divesting from this and not participating in the State of the Union?
You know, that's a powerful question. And I love, you know what? And I believe Al Sharpton, Reverend Sharpton, because he's a leader and like me, he has to walk it. But I love what he said is that which one wins? And so, in that regard, what I'm saying is that when we think about, um, we're 13% of the population. So so where are we in that? How are you able to leverage what you have to be able to participate in the discussion? And we have to learn how to do that and study to find those ways. And so as I'm talking about Amazon, can we boycott against Amazon? Maybe not. But we can't get Target. Maybe we can get we can get Wendy's. And watch this. And maybe we can get McDonald's. But the challenge with all of this is that the way of globalization is who's all affected. And that's what I love the study that Reverend Sharpton has talked about for us to be able to do is like this. It makes you feel good to protest for one day. We don't need no moral victories. We need people to respect us, to understand and receive that we buy their stuff, or you don't buy it. So until we got a different device, we're gonna be on Amazon. That's the deal. And Amazon got stronger in the midst of a pandemic because and sadly, and that even middle America and others, the malls closed. You know how many malls closed? Because people weren't going to mall. Why are you going to go to the mall? You just go look it out. You take a look at it. You order it. If it fits, you like it. If not, you send it back. And the problem is, check this out. And what you ordered came from China and it was too small. I wish I had a witness for somebody to tell the truth. That's the globalization is real, not isolation. So we got an idiot trying to tell us we can do it by ourselves, and we can't. And it's going to hit us in that regard. Oh, great. I hope I had added to the conversation. Beckwith, and then we'll have Pastor Pittman.
Okay, so one of the things that I've been seeing some of the podcasts on YouTube, and they've been talking about leadership, and it was in particular tonight. They're saying that Democrats shouldn't show up for that address. but they know. And two of the people that were called out were, our two leaders in this state, Senator Schumer and our good brother, Minority Leader Jeffries. They've been saying, people have been really hammering them online, saying that they haven't been vocal enough, they haven't been loud enough. That Representative Jeffries has been coming, with the facts and stuff. But a lot of things that, they had a list of all the things that issues that it's like small bullet points. They actually need to be loud. They need to be consistent. They need to hammer home like certain facts every day, loud every day. Like, he's a liar. He's this and he's that. Need to do it every day. Come at them harder and harder every day.
Beckwith, thank you, Deacon Beckwith. Thank you for bringing that up, and I love that because this is a softball for me because it ain't about Donald Trump. It's about the 77 million people that voted for him. This dude he's not a chameleon. He doubled down on what he is as he's envisioned. I mean, as he is trying to re-envision what racism is and white supremacy. So for every progress that we made, he went back and renamed Fort Moore to Fort Benning. That's in North Carolina, Fanta. Went back into that. And now I want to name the Gulf of Mexico, Gulf of America. This is who this person has been. He ain't revealed nothing. He just got greater skills, and he's a scorned lover. And he hates this. And now for people to begin to say, well, Hakeem ain't doing this, and they can't do nothing. They are in the minority because you didn't vote. That's what so what, really, what kind of symbolic victory it is for them not to attend the State of the Union address? The State of the Union address has always been political. You got one side stand up, one side stand down. It has always been that way. And now you want to say they ain't fun because you want them to act like AOC? You want them to go and try to change you? You can't do that. But I'm glad that you brought that up, Deacon Beckwith, for us to be able to see. You got to learn how to win. The best thing is to learn how to win the victory that you can win. So here's our question. And I'm not saying that everybody is a Democrat. That's not what I'm saying. I can tell you the progression of Republicans. So remember, that was Contract with America. And then from there, they were able to move from Contract to America, they moved to the Tea Party, and then they moved to MAGA. That was the point. So what is the see, that's what you want to talk about. So, and in that regard, Republicans have fell in line, Democrats fell in love. We want to love the candidate. And so, and I'm not excusing people's behavior and that, but if you are Republican, you can be a pedophile or a dinosaur, and they still gonna keep you in office because they need you there. But if you are a Democrat and you have, you got a speeding ticket, they're gonna like, okay, let's put his seat up for re-election. Those are facts. And that's the problem. And that's the line. Democrats fall in love, Republicans fall in line, and they don't care. And the line starts behind Donald J. Trump. I was trying before class to find out. This guy ran for president 3 times. I don't know who else has ever ran for outside of Franklin Delano Roosevelt. 3 times he ran for president. He won twice and lost 1. And now, because of his arrogance, let's be clear, they gonna try to change it so he can run again. That's let's you got to deal with facts the way they are. Uh, Pastor,
Yes, thank you. From time to time, we may have heard the senior pastor say that he pastors his grandparents, but he neglects to say that he also pastors some older brothers and sisters who were sneeze away from receiving Social Security. So I said all that to say that there's no cleanup in aisle 5. All of these systems that have been broken, all of these things that have been taken away from us will not be neatly put back together. These things have been destroyed. And that was the purpose of Project 2025. Mission is still being accomplished. They're not finished. But once it's all said and done, whoever remains standing will have to put all the pieces of the puzzle back together. And you know what happens when you put a puzzle back together and some of the pieces have been thrown away? It's impossible. So we have to consider, to Pastor's point of a longer term vision, looking beyond the moment of feeling better about how bad we feel, to really just finding a way to dig deeper to who we are as Americans, as Black Americans in a still yet to be divided country, or united country, actually. So I just, just to warn everyone, or just to caution everyone, as we think about a fix, this fix is not immediate. It's not 6 months away, or may not even be 4 years away. And I think it's safe to look beyond 2026. Everybody talk about the mid-years. We can look past the mid-years as well. If we have an opportunity to fix it in year 4, that is a very big if. That's it.
absolutely. And I love your if, and your if is not about the candidates, it's about the people. That's that's the past that Trump and others of his ilk get off. And when Hillary said it, she lost it. Remember, what did Hillary call them? Anybody?
What, when she said we were super predators, or what she called Trump and them?
See, watch.
Deplorables.
Well, okay, now, wow, thank. See, Fanta, that's what I love. I do love my Fanta. Fanta brought up another thing in there. Hillary isn't president is because of 2 reasons, and she said super predators, and which she did say about Black children and Latino children. You're getting hard, and they going to jail and all of that. But what was the other thing that she said?
Deplorables.
Deplorables. And that was worse. That's what I want us to understand, because the deplorables are the ones that have voted for Donald Trump. Those who hate that she said super predators, they just didn't vote. If I'm correct, if I understand my analysis, let me slow down for y'all again. And this goes back a while, but and Fanta, then you can do what your comment is. But Hillary Clinton, who was not an elected official at that time, her husband was the president. And what she talked about was a study that was talking about, like, you can determine how to build prisons by the how kids are in special education. And therefore, the term is that these kids, as they're being raised up, they're going to be super predators. And she said it. And many Black people got mad as hell at her, activists, the progressive people, and they wanted to condemn her. That's what they did. Because she said even though she was not, it was just her thought. She was not in charge. She wasn't running anything. Okay, that's one. And then on the other side was when she was talking about people being deplorable. And she was talking about the supporters of Donald Trump. And now she's not there. She's not there at all. And now Kamala Harris, we like how she laughs. I mean, she laughs funny. She does this. She ain't got that. Okay, but you got Donald Trump. If that's what you want, that's fine. Let me be clear. I'm not engaged in a political supporting of anybody, but I'm saying how we have sought to do these particular two women with these particular standards about what they are not doing and what you wanted them to do. And we want bravado, and bravado says your mom don't get Medicaid. Fanta.
A couple of points that I would like to discuss are as far as the revolution not being televised. I kind of disagree as far as that term, and I know that it's the poem and we loosely translate it, but it actually is always televised. That's the thing about our society. They love watching gruesome and deplorable things from the beginning of times. They would come out for the hangings. It's just the lenses that you choose to view the things that they allow to come across the airways for you to receive it, which goes back to how we did use their platforms to schedule meetings during, well, not we as if I was a part, but I do like to believe that my ancestors were a part of listening to those radio shows about when we would meet in person to have stuff. So those things went on the airway. But again, it's the lenses for which you're receiving it. And the comment about white people not doing, I know we weren't saying it, but I do want to say that there are some who do voice and put out on all of their social media platforms that they don't agree, that they do vote, that they do stand. But I was looking at the people in my timeline that do that, and most of the ones that I find are the ones who really grew up in the gutter with, and they almost have the same poverty level as a lot of the Black people versus some of my friends who went to NC State. Those ones, they're never going to say anything because it's not their reality. They didn't have to suffer through it with people as much as they came to a melting pot at some point in time versus truly having to go through it. And then he actually ran for president 4 times in 2000. We forget that time when he ran before, but he didn't make it to the primary, but it's 4 times. He's very persistent about being our leader. And I think that was all the points that and I do kind of also disagree with, I think that it is time for a little change, and especially when it comes to a point in time when we have to be clear on what side of history we're going to stand on. And America as a whole, with the people who voted for the UN, that they were the only people that voted with Russia as not being the aggressor. I think it would be better if our Democratic people did not show up, because if you don't show up, whether you stand, it can't be misconstrued that you are a part of or agreeing with any of this shit show that we are having. And we are definitely in the fuck around and find out era of the world.
No, okay, and I hear you on your last point, and I'm gonna back up from you. Thank you, Fanta. I'm gonna back up from you from that, is to be able to say, and I'll tell my own people, even as our pastor, you got to count votes. And so that the point is, the Democrats ain't got the vote. So everything that the Democrat does is symbolic. And so the critique of the Kamala Harris campaign was that she was trying to reach out to them. That's all. So you have to let them experience this particular pain. And that's, I mean, again, that's the hard thing when you tell your son, you tell your daughter, if you do this, this is what's going to happen. They don't listen. Let them F around, and they will eventually, because I would say it again, but I don't want to. I was Bible study. I was civic. Pastor just cussed. Pastor cussed. So I prefer it because I want you to see the seriousness of it. That's the seriousness of it. And so Fanta, I hear you saying that, but them both it don't change nothing that this person is going to be there, and the vote is in there. And the saddest part of all of this stuff in here was Barack Obama deported more people than Donald Trump ever did in 2 presidencies. That's the deal. I mean, meaning that because right now is scarcity that is challenging us. And whenever there's scarcity, I believe we want ours. Let me make this clear to you all. I love my wife. She's beautiful. And we go out, and that's how she keeps her figure. And we both get cheeseburgers. I get a double cheeseburger. She get a single cheeseburger. And then we say, you know what? I'm gonna get a large fry. I'm like, do you want fries? She says, no, I don't want fries. So she got her single cheeseburger. I got my double cheeseburger, and we got a large fry. But yet she's continuing to eat from my fries. Now, as long as there is enough, I wish I had a witness. I wish I was in church. As long as I had enough, we're cool. But once we get down to like the last 3 or 4, I'm like, no, baby, you should have got your own. That's where we are in this country. And they are scared as all get out, particularly white men, and they want to blame somebody on it, and they're blaming black people as being late. That's the DEI discussion, as being inefficient and not able to do that. But Fanta, you said one more thing. Can you, because you talked, what was the other thing? Because I really wanted to say it.
Oh, about how white people do show up and they do post, and that the revolution is televised. It just depends on what lens you're looking at.
Yeah. Okay. And so therefore, when you're talking about that being the lens, is that's how we succeeded. That's why it's called a hush harbor. We did it in front of them, and you didn't know that we were planning and organizing. So that's the challenge that we want to be able to wrestle with. So yeah, no, I received that. And what I want to challenge us, because we haven't had a great discussion, but when we look at the state of our union, if we were the state of our union, is it well? I would say no. Inflation is high, racism is even higher, and now it affects us. But does that make us give up? The answer would be no. And that's the intent. But if the answer is no, you mean to tell me we're going to be in the big house and planning the escape? Harriet Tubman wasn't in the big house planning the escape for former enslaved Africans. She wasn't. She was in the hush harbors. So I know it might be tough for me and for all of us, but I think we might need to go back to a hush harbor, because everybody don't need to know what you're doing. That's that's what I am saying when you look at this. Because when you look at, and my intent was looking at the rise and fall of empires, and you're looking at Rome, Egypt, Babylon, the British Empire. And so why did they fail? Why did they fail? They always fail for overexpansion. Overreaching will always be the case. A decline in leadership. You don't have the right person there. That you know, and then sometimes some people overthrew them. But these are the greatest dynasties that we have existed that is recorded. Again, Rome, Egypt, Babylon, and the British Empire. And after that is America. what is the response? Minister Young.
Yeah, I think I'm leaning toward what Fanta expressed. I'm struggling to envision what a hush harbor looks like in a post-privacy society. What does that really look like? You can't even if you are in person, you can barely say anything around your phone or your computer without being listened to. What does a hush harbor look like in a post-privacy society?
I love it. I wish Cameron was with me. I'm watching Severance. I don't know if any of y'all watch
Love
Severance.
that show.
You love it? It's moves slow to me, but that's what you're saying, and that's why I can see you saying that. And we have to find our own, create our own spaces. And what I'm saying is that COVID created a space. COVID created some things for us to do that we otherwise would not have done. But again, and I love my Facebook. Justin did this, and we're pushing out. But what if we just didn't push out and we went to the Facebook page? I mean to the website page. There are other ways, but I agree with you that there's still limited forms um, of privacy, but that led to our ancestors' creativity to speak about freedom in the presence of the master.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the hymns were. So they were singing, and that's why they wanted to take away. The drums were saying what was about to happen, and these songs were there, and so that it is challenging, it is tough. But what I said on Sunday, wow, you mean to tell me that value is gone? If we did it before, yeah, Liz, code switching. We know how to code switch to be able to speak, and that's the intent. But when you're just so, and to go with what Fanta did say, all I'm just saying is I got a whole bunch of white people in my feed, and some of them are my family. They ain't none of them got pictures saying I voted. That's what we do. And
Mm-hmm.
get, black folk are over Anna. Black folk are over indexed in social media, and we didn't do that. And we post. They don't do that. They just go ahead on and vote. Those are facts, and that's our challenge, brother.
Mm-hmm.
So I was reading the book James by Percival Everett. It was on the New York Times bestseller list last year, and it's amazing how, while there wasn't a lot of technology back then, they still had to use the art of code switching when it came to belittling their educational level so that they weren't found out by the white man in essence. So like the aspect of code switching has been ingrained in our community in a way, but even how they had to communicate, no social media, but it was still like with sense or using like astrology or the stars and things like that. That in a way has like been our guide as a Black community with these hush harbors. It's a great book if anyone's looking to find something to read. It's the Slave Telling from Huckleberry Finn. Great book.
So my question for you all, as we approach the 8 o'clock hour, is that would you all be willing to meet in person again? Yeah, I mean, don't lie. Just tell you.
I certainly would, because I'm in my F around and find out era.
All right.
I'd be willing.
Yes.
I got two. Anybody else?
Yes, I will.
Yes, yes.
I would love to, Pastor, but I'll be at work.
But I'm just saying those are it's different. Those are exceptions. So, and that's what I'm saying. It's like being progressive, not in a political way, but being progressive in trying to get something accomplished in the future. It requires you to sacrifice something now. And we got to be willing to sacrifice if we're serious. And I'm willing to do that. And that's why I said we'll do it once a month. We'll do it in person and we'll come in. And I do think we'll try to figure out with my technical team to know if how people who aren't there. But we might decide as a group is that, you know what? If you ain't here, this is what the space is. And I'm this is what I promise you. If you trust me and believe in vision, I believe we'll start out with 15 and we can conclude the year with 75 people in our civics class once a month. I believe so. And that's the point because people are hungering for, okay, what do we do? Because
Especially if it's open.
who's that?
I'm sorry, it's me, especially if it's open, because again, so many people are asking where we meet and what churches.
Yep. Yep. That's and we don't want to be, not that I'm rushing to say that we're there first because somebody else can do it. I'm just saying that it is needed within our group. And so I hope that you all will do this. So that means that the date will be in person in the fellowship hall on April 7th.
Will
That's
that be at 7 o'clock, Pastor?
that.
You said 7?
Yes.
We're not doing April 1st, the first Tuesday every month.
Oh, that's the first? Okay, I can't see it. Hold on. Look at
That's April Fool's Day, must be.
It is.
And that's Jackie's birthday.
Sorry.
Oh, well.
Yeah,
I want
no,
a cake.
no, you're right. It is April 1st. I was off. It's April 1st. It can be Jackie's birthday, and happy birthday, Jackie. Not gonna do no pranks, and we ain't gonna be no fools. So if we can decide, I mean, and that's what again, and that's why people, I mean, the conspiracists can begin to say how all these things was created because it made us lazy. If we weren't using technology, we would have already had class and scheduled it to go in there. So April 1st, and it will be hybrid, but based upon the participation, we will then determine our next level, which very well might be in person only. And the pastor, I think he's about to tell me right now, Pastor Pittman.
Sanctuary on Tuesday evenings. We have a commitment to the community on Tuesday evenings in the fellowship hall.
Oh, okay. So we have to go someplace else. I want to be in the chapel. We're trying to work on the chapel. So, all right. I vision
On Fridays.
Patricia.
I said we can do civics on Fridays.
We have dance rehearsal, sorry.
Hell no.
Okay.
That's Friday. What you do? You ain't doing nothing. No, we're doing no civics on Friday. We'll do it on our Tuesday. We'll find a place in the building. But I might have to change as Pastor Pastor Pittman has informed us, is that the civics, I mean that the use of our fellowship hall is for those that are in AA, and it's a matter of privacy, and everybody don't need to see what's going on. Those are some of our challenges. So I'll have to rethink, but I ain't doing a Friday. We will rethink. So I'll let y'all know. And anybody, you got any other suggestions, you can suggest it to me, but I ain't doing no Friday. Even if I ain't going out. You ain't like, so what, how was your Friday? I was in civics. Like, oh God, no.
Then it'll feel like punishment. We ain't trying to do that.
I ain't trying to.
Don't put me on timeout.
I'm not trying to be a rebel causer, but what are we willing to sacrifice? Our people sacrifice. I ain't saying nothing. But what we sacrificing? We don't want to sacrifice like they did. That's all I'm saying. We
Not my Friday. They didn't give up their Fridays though.
No, not a
You want to see us on Sunday? All right.
our
There you
ancestors
go.
gave up their
All
Monday,
right.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturdays and Sundays. Please believe it. But I
give
understand.
up.
I don't want to give up my Fridays either. But I'm just saying, what we gonna sacrifice?
And we very well might still do the Tuesday, because I'm still doing Wednesday. I like still doing Wednesday. I have yet to make Wednesday Bible study come in, but we're also, you all know, we're doing Ash Wednesday worship service in person, you know. But and again, and I want y'all to know, this is why is Pastor Lacey stressing in person? Because that's our damn bills. So we don't use this building. Why do we need this building? This building is our biggest thing, and we got to learn how to use it. So I love to do things in person, and I lead by example. So that means I got to leave from here to be in the building to allow us, but outside of just Sunday. And our church can do that. So we do have our Ash Wednesday service on Wednesday. But what we will take a look at, Pastor Pittman and I will look at on how we, if we are still to do the April 1st, is that it won't be in a fellowship hall. It will have to be in a different place, and it on the third floor or something. So we'll figure that out, whatever the plan is, or it might be delayed. Ultimately, Pastor Lacey wants it in the chapel, but the chapel ain't fixed. So we, just like we started working on the kitchen, I want that chapel fixed to be a multi-purpose place for the community to meet. That's what I want. And what I want, I get. And we gonna get it. I don't know how soon, but we gonna get it. May 6th will be lovely for in person. So Liz said just wait till May 6th. Okay. All right. So we'll work on that. But again, and then I'll send the stuff out, and we'll get our course setting with where we're going. But I just wanted to touch back as we engaged in this discussion. And watch this, we talked about general stuff. We ain't talked about having a black mayor embarrass all of us and divide us, to say that we some Negroes that just because we don't want to follow his policy as he broke the law. We ain't even moved to none of that. And that's where we're going to do. As we have our house meetings to determine the direction. Let me say this, and I forgot, and this is what I want to tell you all. I need you all to continue to love me, because I promise you I will always love you. Minister Young reminded me, she says, Pastor, I'm not here on the 9th, and you're not here on the 9th. So, and so I was speaking to Robin, and I'm like, oh my God, I forgot about that. That's my sister's funeral is Saturday, but I'm not leaving my family and just rushing back to the church. So I'm not going to be here next Sunday. Pastor Pittman is preaching. But in that regard, I don't think about that. And you all who heard the sermon on Sunday, when I said we got an event May 18th, and Pastor Pittman texted me and said, "Sir, that's your anniversary." All I'm saying is I never think about me. I think about you. That's what I do. And I pray that you think about me and pray for me, because I don't want to think about me. I want to think about you. But I'm thankful for my team that said those things. And we're going to figure out what we're going to do in these pieces. But so March the 9th will be canceled and we'll just do March the 23rd in that regard. And then I think we still might do May 18th because the week before is Mother's Day. The week after is Memorial Day. It's actually just a perfect Sunday. That's all. That's why we had it there for your perfect pastor. So we gonna try to figure it out. I don't know what we're gonna do, but what I'm saying is I got you and I want you to get me. Because I never want to worry about me as long as you got me in that regard. Is that all right? That's the case. Let's close. And Brian, can you close us in prayer?
Okay, I would be glad to. Tonight we give thanks to have a healthy meeting as always. Good participants, good talk. I want to bless everybody that came on the Zoom tonight and have a pleasant rest of the week. And God bless everyone. Amen.
Amen. So say we all. I'll see you all tomorrow in our Ash Wednesday service in person.
Okay, good night.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Good night.